up,
Hello,
everybody?
everybody.
Howdy,
Today is
howdy.
Wellness Wednesday. Can you believe it? It's
Oh
Wednesday
my
already,
goodness.
August the 3rd. Oh,
Oh
it's
no, it's fourth. It's the
the
fourth
4th.
today.
Exactly.
You are one day behind.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Miss Crystal. How are you?
I'm well. I'm in Florida. I'm good.
Um, Okay.
It
Wow. Must be nice. That's okay.
is.
Yeah.
It's
I,
nice to
I
get
need
away.
I need a beach. I need to slip in some sand and walk in some water and just let it just to hear the water. Hearing
Yes.
water is so serene sometimes, and that sounds like a lot of fun, really.
Yep. I think that's what we're gonna do today, a little bit later.
So before I get to you, how's Oscar?
Oscar is actually doing well. He did well on the plane flight. I did give him some cannabis oil, just a little bit, a little drop, before the plane ride to calm him down, and he actually did well. I had a backpack carrier and everything, and he slept mostly on the plane. He got a little like whimpery at
Yeah.
one point. It's a two, almost a yeah, it's a little over 2 hour flight, but yeah, I just stuck my hand there, petted him a little bit, and he fell asleep again, so he was good.
Oh, little
Yeah,
Oscar.
yeah.
By the way, if you guys don't know who Oscar is, he's not her son and he's not in a cage. He is a Yorkie and he's 16 years old and he's getting old. And so she's not able to leave him home because
Mm-mm.
he doesn't do well without her now. And
Yeah.
so she had to take him with her out of town. And I just think that's just a good parent. So yeah. And then also not to have the responsibility on someone else or somebody else. If something
Yeah.
were to happen to him, that would be tragic because I almost took him. I'm like, I'll take care of him, but I
Yeah.
would feel horrible if anything had happened to him while you guys were gone and he was under my care. And I would take good care of him, but that
Yeah,
wouldn't
you
make
would.
any difference, you know?
Yeah, he's a lot
Yeah.
of work right now. He had this thing before we left. It's a distended belly, like bloated belly. There's a special word for it, but I forgot what it's called. But um, normally
Extended
a dog,
belly is good. People can understand that.
yeah, normally it's to be like fatal for a dog, and they say to take him to the emergency room and all these things. But we do natural things, and so excuse me. So I was just been giving him like MSM enzymes, some slippery elm, and some Cascara Sagrada to make sure his bowels are moving good because he wasn't wanting to, like release his bowels or anything. He was struggling, and also with his kidneys, I started giving him chlorophyll and aloe, and that seemed to be helping a lot actually. So he still has some moments, but it was way better than when it started. And one day he actually didn't have any trouble at all. So
Wow.
2 days now. So
That's
normally,
awesome. That
yeah.
means he
So
might be being healed, you guys. He might be having that ailment might be, good, finished and over with and healed, and that'll be
yeah.
good. That'll be really good.
Oh, and I
Um,
forgot, I gave him some zeolite too. So to help him, heal that gut, that leaky gut if there's any. So and release
well,
that
I was
gas
just
and
about
stuff.
to say, you guys, if this is working for a dog,
Yeah.
okay, I just want to say,
Yeah.
if
Well, it's
it's
just a
going to work
mineral.
for a dog, it's
Yeah.
going to work for you. So, all of
Yeah.
these things that she's saying, if you have any questions about any of those products she just talked about, or those minerals that she just talked about, please give us a call and
Yeah,
talk to
absolutely.
us because we'll definitely fill you in on absolutely everything she just said because they're all important and we both take all those. I don't take aloe yet, but I take everything else she said. So, yeah. And a lot of it
Yeah.
is, yeah, it's just good for us. But before we do anything else, though, let's talk about Crystal. Crystal, tell me who you are, what you're about, why we do this, your testimony, all of that. And then we'll get to
All
our
right.
special guest we have for today.
Alrighty. Well, I'm a natural health and herb specialist and a holistic health coach. And I do
Mhm.
this because years ago I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, an inflammatory bowel disease that got me on my deathbed. I was hospitalized, lost over 30 pounds, went down to like 97 pounds, and I lost all that weight in like 1 month, you guys. And something's wrong there. And I just couldn't get my nutrition. So the doctor said, you would have died if you were any older, and they wanted to put me on medication. I did try the medication. I tried steroids. I tried the ulcerative colitis medication, but um, it wasn't working. It was making things worse. It was making me have more bleeding. So I found a naturopathic doctor who's now a good friend of mine, and she's taught me so much. I changed my lifestyle. my diet, got on supplements for my gut. And, here I am today. The doctors can't explain it, or they don't want to admit it, but my body is healed. I don't have problems like that anymore. It's not what it used to be. And I'm excited to share that with the world.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff, you guys. On my personal journey, I'm still on it. I'm beginning to get off of medications. I am feeling a lot better about a lot of things. Yeah, it's like vertigo. I don't have vertigo anymore. Motion sickness, I still kind of struggle with that, but it's not nearly as bad as it was. So I've been telling people, when you clean your gut out, a lot of things follow, and it's good stuff that follows. Like, you don't get as sick as often, and you get to feel your minerals and your vitamins and your supplements. You feel them more because your gut is cleaned out and it's able to process what you're bringing in better.
Yeah.
I believe
It does. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, it's better disseminated through the body. Everything needs to go where it needs to go. It does it better. And your hair, your nails, your tendons, your muscles, your cartilage, all that stuff gets better. And it's like, wow, you just never know. The older we get, the more depleted of things we get because of just the way we eat and our lifestyle and things like that. So we need supplements, vitamins, and minerals to supplement our bodies, to get our bodies back into that natural,
absolutely,
holistic balance. And so we need to help our bodies with that by introducing these things to our bodies and allowing our bodies to get back into balance, into that holistic, way of being. And you're never too old, by the way. I'm almost 60, and I'm just starting, not just starting the journey, but getting serious about the journey. It's two different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so yeah, that's what's happening here. So, but enough about me and Crystal, because y'all see us all the time. We have a special guest today. His name is LaRon LaRon Barnes. Oh my God. LaRon, I know you.
You really
come on, Kathy, get it together.
Oh, I tell you.
Everybody's gonna be like, what?
I know. And I didn't even say LeBron. I said LaRon James. So I put both of y'all together.
That is hilarious.
That's gonna have to be your nickname.
You're way more important than LeBron James. You're more important than him anyway. So
that is hilarious.
So, Mr. LaRon, we were talking earlier about just special relationships. Like when you and I and Crystal spoke earlier, we were talking about special relationship within the family. Mm-hmm. And right now, my family is in a crisis. Not really, but sort of. Mm-hmm. There's some things happening in my family that is going to be an issue pretty soon. And relationships are going to be severed. I know it's happening. It's going to happen. And the problem is that I'm in the middle of a lot of things because I have sisters and brothers and children and nieces and nephews. And I'm the auntie and the mother and the sister that wants everybody to be harmonious. And it doesn't happen that way because everybody has their own individual relationships with these people. And so do I. But my relationship is good with everybody, but their relationships aren't. And it's really hard being this person right here. So I already know it's going to be an issue, but I think that people should be true to themselves, do what they need to do, don't care about anybody. Like none of them should care about me at all. What they need to do, they need to do for themselves. Bottom line. I'll deal with what I have to deal with. They can deal with what they have to deal with. And if people spill over into my relationship negatively, then that's just, I'm going to have to deal with those people personally and keep it moving. Yeah. But it's a hard tightrope. It really is. It's a hard tightrope.
I already know.
It is. And it's just messed up. So we just have to continue our relationships the way that they are strong.
Can you all still hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
You blipped out a little bit there, but we got
Okay, I can hear you.
I don't know if you still heard me, but I'm just saying we just need to be true to ourselves and allow those people to do what they have to do. And then you deal with those individual people the way that I will deal with those individual people the way that I need to. Because I know stuff is going to spill over.
Right.
It has to. I just know. I know personalities. I know how things are going. I know how things will be. And nothing's a surprise to me,
Yeah.
except for acceptance and maybe healing. That would be a huge surprise to me.
Yeah. Straight up. Yeah.
That would be amazing, as a matter of fact, if people would just get out of their own way
Mm-hmm.
and allow people to feel their, you know what I mean? Oh my
Yeah.
God, I can go on. Sorry.
No, you're good. That's real. That's
It
real.
is real. Family dynamics are extremely difficult.
Yes.
And it's
Absolutely.
just amazing that we're talking about this today, because I wasn't expecting to even be this into our conversation
Now, this is real.
about family relationships, but it's real. And yeah, I've had conversations with people. Yeah, and it's gonna hit, the shit's gonna hit the fan, y'all. It's just going to. So
Mm.
yeah, and it's needed. Some of it is needed, and I'm not gonna be able to protect, because my thing is protecting people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stop it. Don't do that anymore.
You have to allow people
Mhm.
to just do what they're going to do, be who they are, because
Yep.
you just need to focus on you and what you need to do, you know. So
I guess like you said, we all play our certain roles. You know,
Mhm.
we all you can do is all you can do. But make
Mhm.
sure all you can do is enough. You know what I mean? You just gotta play your role. You gotta do all that you can do, and you can't so much get in.
No, that's not it. The thing is, my role is nothing.
Mhm.
But relationships are going to change because of things that's going to happen with me. So I can sit back and do nothing and still have the negative fallout.
Mm.
I'm not in anybody's business.
Yeah.
So get that
Yeah.
straight and for real. That
Yeah.
I'm not trying to pit anybody against each other. I'm not trying to do anything. I was trying to protect certain things. So by me removing myself, that protection is gone. And now it's
Mm.
going to be an implosion,
Yeah.
because that's just what's going to happen. Because I know me. I know them. And so
Yeah.
with me out of the equation, that's when everything is going to blow up. See, you're not getting it.
I
Yeah.
see what you're saying.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm speaking in general. When you are in certain situations, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? Sometimes all you can do is all you really can do, though. You know, but in your situation, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Everybody's not gonna like, you know, the decisions you make. You know, they're not gonna like the decisions that you make. But here's the ultimate thing: you know what's best for you. You know what you have to do in order for, you know what I'm saying, you to have your peace. You know what I'm saying? You to have what you, as far as you need out of the
My personal piece would be to stay in the middle and to be that protection. No, my piece is to keep peace.
Yeah, I see
By
what
me removing myself, the peace is no longer going to be there.
So you don't want to really remove yourself, but you feel as if you
I'm
have to.
going to, because that they're grown ass people. They're grown people.
Okay.
So I'm removing myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, I got to get
Okay.
out of the way.
Okay.
But
that's
when I
healthy.
do get
That's
out of the
healthy.
way, when I do, no, it's not. Not
To
really.
remove yourself,
Not really.
that's boundaries.
Because, yeah, no, it's an implosion. When I remove myself out of the way, it's going to be an issue. My
Let me.
protection is going to be gone. Like, people are going to now be able to talk freely, which they should be able to. But the relationship on this side is going to not be the same with me, because the relationship on that side has said something, and it's going to it's going to be an issue. I just already know.
So do
It's
you?
human nature.
Just curious. Do you believe the issue is going to be turned towards you because you
Yeah.
remove yourself?
Yeah. That's what I just said.
Okay. So watch
Yeah.
this. I just wanted to rephrase it to make sure you know.
Yeah.
But I honestly do go back to this right here, and
Okay.
this is just me.
Okay.
All you can do is all you can do. Even here's the thing about it. You said that you can't be in the middle of two grown people handling a conflict. and you're removing yourself. Now, ultimately, no, you may not want to remove yourself, but at the end of the day, listen, you've done what you can do. Like when you try to
That's
put
true.
yourself in a situation and you trying to make peace at it, it's not your battle. It's you tried to get them together. If we're gonna be honest, of course we all want people to get together. We
Yeah,
all want people to get it right, but it's
that's
not
true.
your battle. You can't, like, you have, if you think about it, everybody, even on this earth, even in the Christian walk, you're responsible for yourself.
Yeah,
Now, if you, everybody ultimately responsible for themselves. Now, when you, myself, and how we are, we love people. Duh. No, we don't want the conflict. We
yeah,
don't want that. But what's going to happen is that when we get into those situations, now we're caring so much of what people saying about us. Now we care how they look at us when all we did was do what ultimately what we thought was best. Because listen, when you said, listen, what's going to happen is it's going to turn against me. Somebody's not going to like it. That's caring, and there's nothing wrong with caring, but to the point of how much control, when you care so much to where people can have control over your life when you care so deeply into it.
yeah. It's not that they won't like me. That's
I
not
mean,
what I said. But
more
the
so,
relationship is going to change, is what I said. And it's going to change for the negative. And I already know it because I know the person's involved. So,
and so with that right there,
mhm.
with that changing right there, is that, how does that make you feel? That's the ultimate thing.
Of course, I don't want it. Why would anybody want that?
Hmm.
But it's out of my control because I've allowed the person that needs to say something. I gave her, you do this because that's what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you doing that is going to change my relationship with this person.
Mm-hmm.
Not because of me, but because you're saying it to that person. Now,
Mm-hmm.
that person's going to change her relationship with me. I already know because I know that person.
Yeah.
But you do what you have to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, it's uncomfortable. Of
Yeah.
course, it's not feeling right. Of course,
Yeah.
it's not going to be good. All of the above. It's going to take a whole lot of climbing a mountain again and breaking down walls again because that's just how it's going to be. I already know. So, but yeah, it's not a like. I don't care. Nobody has to like me. That's not
Yeah.
the issue. The relationship is changing. It will
Right.
change. If this person decides to do what I believe she might do, that person, that other person's relationship is going to change because of what this person is going to have to say to her.
So
And
you
I
just in the
get it.
middle.
I get it.
Literally.
I'm in the middle. I just,
Literally.
I'm literally in the
Literally in the middle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, that I see exactly where you're coming from that perspective, you know. And the only thing I say to that literally is that, of course, once again, none of us want that. We don't want that. But at the end of the day, like you said, that's conflict between two other people. And so
But
they really,
you know that don't matter. Just
I,
because it's between so and so and such and such, but you're in
yeah,
the middle, you know.
yeah,
And a lot of times that anger spills over to the person that has nothing to do with anything. And that anger spills over onto you. And then
mhm,
you have to deal with, oh my God, I have so many sisters and brothers. I have so
mhm,
many nieces and nephews, and I only have 2 children. And
yeah,
I've experienced this
yeah,
more than enough times to know what's going to happen. So
mhm,
unless the one person, unless she's grown up and decided to not be normal, like
mhm,
normally how she is,
yeah,
that's the only way this is going to blow over in a good way. But if
mhm,
she's the same way that I believe that she still is and always will be, then yeah, we'll have a problem. But
mhm,
it is what it is. It's going to be what it's going to be. And I'm going to deal with what I have to deal with. But I also want to talk about relationships between husband and wives
mhm,
and children. Because that family dynamic, everybody out there that has a big family, you know what I'm talking about.
yeah,
Especially if you're the middle child and I'm the middle child. So we can talk about that for until the ends of the earth. But I want to talk about relationships between husband and wives, and how having good relationships between them can cause good mental health, and how bad relationships or bad communication, I guess is what I mean mostly, can dull or make the relationship not as vibrant or as organic, or dulled a little bit. And Crystal, I'm gonna start off with you on that one. What do you have to say about that?
I definitely think communication is key, and being able to be open and honest with your partner. For instance, because like I know there was a time in our relationship, my husband's, that we were apart for a while, and when we got back together, we did not talk about anything that had happened in that 5 years that we were not together.
That's
And the
a long
moment
time.
that is, and that moment that we were both able to open up and talk about those things and the things that we wanted in our relationship, like all the weight was just lifted. We were able to speak freely with each other more. We were closer than we ever were with each other. Everything opened up, even intimacy, lots of things.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So there's a
It
lot
was
of
good
power.
before. It was good before, but it was even better afterwards. Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly. Yeah, it was good before. Like, we just didn't know there was one little piece missing, and we couldn't like figure it out. I'm like, because normally, like any relationship, sometimes you argue over finances or just little petty things sometimes. And ours is really just, in the past it was finances, but now that's like better. I'm like, well, what's missing? We're wanting to know, and just opening up and being able to communicate with each other like that. And now we're able to communicate freely. It's more of, hey, this is your best friend, and you need to be able to open up and talk to them. A lot of people don't realize their spouse is supposed to be their best friend, I think.
I
And
know mine was.
yeah, and that's really important. And just being able to communicate, because you would tell your best friend the truth, wouldn't you? Like, over anything. You should be able to tell your best
So
friend
what
everything.
was holding you guys back? Like what was holding you back, and then what made that door open?
You know, ours was about talking more about intimacy, like more of what we wanted, because we were apart for 5 years. We're different people.
But how long have you been together?
How long have we been together? Oh, like way back when?
No. After the 5 years, how long have you been back after the 5 years?
Oh, 6 years.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's happened recently, or it's happened?
This happened this year. This year we opened up more about it. Yep.
Okay. So for 5-6 years, you guys have been like what? Knowing something wasn't all the way there. What, you know what I'm getting at?
Yeah. Like, it was really good and everything. We're like, okay, we've got to, because we're both thinking things, right? But we're just not like saying it. And and it's just like, little did we know we both wanted the exact same things, like literally the exact same stuff.
And the only way to know that is to say
it. Just say it.
Exactly.
Or show them. No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly.
But like, seriously,
no, for real.
Yeah, you have to be able to be open and communicate. I know I see a lot of women, and well, I'm in a lot of groups with women, and I see that, they come to their other women friends and they're like, well, this is, my husband's doing this and this and this. And I'm like, why don't you just tell him exactly what you just told us?
Well, okay, now let's get to this, LaRon. Now listen to me. Men's egos are not very strong, Crystal. And to talk to men about certain things hurt their ego, and therefore it gets worse. So she probably is not speaking to her husband about it because his ego can be bruised. Men are weak. I don't care what nobody say. They're the weaker sex when it comes to emotional, ego, communication, all of that. Physically stronger, true enough. But you can break a man's ego in a New York minute and not even realize you've done it. So speak on that, Mr. LaRon.
Well, I mean, that's everything is all about how you say it. How do you bring it to your spouse? You have to examine the words that you are using. You have to know who you're talking to. You know what I mean?
The right timing. The right timing.
And I was going to exactly timing plays everything too. Like know exactly, how you're going to say it, what you're going to say, how you're looking to articulate, and the timing. A lot of times I find that when couples express how they feel is through anger, it's through arguing, and they never set the time out to say, hey, you know what, this is the issue that I'm having. Like, one thing that I do, I find myself doing even in my relationship with my wife, if I'm having an issue, granted, I may let it go for a couple of days and not say nothing about it so I can process how I'm feeling emotionally and understand. But when everything is good, when we're about to watch TV, I say, baby, hey, can we talk? If you don't mind, I just want to talk for a moment. And then I'll tell her, this is how I'm feeling right here. I haven't really been feeling okay, this has really been kind of bothering me, and I just want you to help me. I want you to help me because I want to make sure that we are always remaining strong in our relationship.
Yeah.
So it's about really having that open communication at the right time, and not when you're fighting, but when things are going okay. And tell them I love you, and set it up. Like, tell them, hey, you know what? I have nothing against you. I'm not mad at you or anything, but I really want to say this because this is what I'm feeling. But I love you, and maybe you can help me.
And let me tell you something. It's not beyond a person to pray on that person, on how they receive it.
Yeah.
Before saying something to them, like, Lord, please help them receive what I'm trying to say. Help me convey it the way you would like for me to say it. I've done that so many times, especially in friendships. In friendships, I've told her, Lord, please let her know that I'm not attacking her and that I'm trying to say this, thus, and so in friendships. And let me say the words that you want me to say, and not necessarily what I want to say. And a lot of times that works. I was on a 13-hour long conversation with a lady once. Well, she was more than a lady. She was a person that was important to me. And I had to ask God to help me with the conversation because the conversation was not the best. It was a lot of vomiting on me. Like, she was vomiting. And I'm like, God, help me with how to respond. If I should respond, what to respond with. And I mean to tell you, you talking about bridling a tongue. I actually know how that feels. I actually know that God would not let me to respond to certain things. He wouldn't let me respond with the way I wanted to respond to certain things. It was amazing. That conversation was the most 13 hours, you guys. Never went to the bathroom, never had another call interrupt us. My children were small and they were able to deal. I didn't have any interruptions in 13 hours. This conversation went forever. And she lived in California and I lived in Kansas City, and it was on my dime. And it was in the 80s. Well, no, I'm sorry. It was in the 90s. It was in the 90s. So we didn't have cell phones that were free long distance phone calls then. It was an amazing conversation because God bridled my tongue, allowed me to speak when I wanted to speak. Or when I asked to speak, he would say, not yet, not yet, not yet. He gave me the perfect timing. It was amazing. It was amazing. So a lot of times praying before you go into to a conversation is really important because it can quiet the spirit that you're about to talk to, and it can help you navigate better in the conversation.
I would also say, when you are in communication with a spouse or anyone for that matter, but, in particular a spouse or in that scenario, you got to be willing to open up to know that it may hurt and they may respond a certain way. But even though they respond a certain way, you're not going to react because you open yourself up to be able to receive that. And a lot of times what happens is we get the response that we want, what we think we ought to get because we came to them in love, we feel some type of way. And so we react. I was just trying to tell you this, and now we're arguing. So
good point. That's a good point.
To receive that the answer may not be what you envision in your mind because of how you came. Like if it hurts them, sometimes it's okay I didn't say it completely right. It's okay. I'll step back. I'll step back. I love you and I'll embrace you, and maybe we'll come back at it a different time if I notice that the conversation is still not going in the right direction.
Good point. That's happened many a day with me. Good point.
Yeah. I mean, that's just communication. That's understanding people. That's understanding that if you are the initiator and you are the one who wants to correct a problem or injustice or whatever it is, be ready to receive the unreceivable. Be ready to receive. And of course, we don't want it to happen that way. Of course, our intentions is for it to turn out another way. But reality says that it doesn't always turn out the way you expect it to return. So you got to be fortified and prepared enough to receive the answer that you don't want to receive, but receive it in love and be able to show love without snapping off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's part of that praying for you too. Praying for yourself before you start talking. But that's a good point.
Yeah. That's real. That's code, right? That's good. But once you get that though, once you get that, you what happens is you're able to have more effective relationships with people. Because you, a lot of times, the reason why we think it shouldn't go the way because we don't believe that we don't react that way. I did it in love. I did it with good intentions. But see, your intentions are not always accepted by everybody or other people. Right? They're not your intentions. Intentions are just that, they're intentions. They may be good, but just because they're good don't mean the result will be. Right? Like, just because your intentions are good does not mean the result will be.
Well, that's because everybody has their own baggage. Everybody comes with their own weight. Everybody comes with their own issues. And so you may be working through something that might trigger somebody else's issue.
Yeah.
Like there might be triggers in there that you're trying to release from yourself, but you would have triggered that next person, and the next person's like, you know, and so they haven't dealt with a lot of things that they need to deal with. And yeah.
And that's just,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's real. And
once it's so complicated.
and really what it comes down to is the understanding that people are people. And I thank God for this because I truly understand people. Like, I don't care if you really upset me, you get mad about me, you talk about me. I've had it all happen, lied on me. It's okay. One thing I know is people are people, and I let people be people. All that does for me is let me know your character and how much I should involve myself with you. That's what that does. I don't want them to hide. No, you are who you are. I just have to pay attention to you are so I know how to respond and react.
Yeah.
How you are. And that's relationships for you. Like not to react, but to respond. You know, and like you said when you were telling the story that you was able to bridle your tongue, that you understood what it was really like I know there were some things that were said that were not true, not how you were, you know, all those things, but it was being said. But you were able to let her say what she had to say, be able to receive it in love and not react by saying what you wanted to say. And now, watch this, you win people over like that as well. Because
actually, that 13-hour phone call would have ended if I had responded in my flesh, y'all, than in the spirit. The Lord allowed me to respond in my spirit and not in my flesh. So that 13-hour long conversation would have ended if I had done anything in the flesh. So I had to be guided by the Lord. I had to. Yeah. And it wasn't even about me. It was mostly about somebody that I really, really loved a lot. And how dare you talk about somebody I love like this? But I'm gonna let you do it. Like you said, you go ahead, and it did. It opened up a lot of eyes. It opened me up to a lot of what was going on.
Yeah.
With that person internally, and it was like,
that's good.
Yeah.
It reveals them. Yeah. It reveals them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So, Crystal, when it comes to you and your daughter, how do you do with your like communication with her? Like,
you know,
and I don't know how old your kids are, but I'll ask you that same question in a second. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Crystal.
So my daughter, she's now 11. I'll just go ahead and say that. She's been a different type of kid. You know, I was raised like, you know, if a kid act up, you know, you're gonna get spanking or you're gonna get grounded or, you know, whatever it is. But like that stuff doesn't work with her. I mean, I know it sounds weird saying that, but every child is different. And honestly, she's so easy in a way that if I just explain to her like things like, okay, instead, if a kid asks why, normally we would say, hey, you know, because I said so, you know, like that's how I was raised. And I remember feeling a certain way when my parents would say that. And I wanted to know, well, why? What's the reason why I can't do this or whatever it is? So if I tell her the reason why I don't want her to do something, or, you know, I can't allow you to do this or whatever it is, I don't know, you know, she understands. She's like, oh, okay. And she really wants to follow the rules, actually. She does not want to, she's a kid that actually likes to follow the rules. She's like, I don't know if you call it an A personality or what, but she wants to do her best for you. She doesn't want to disappoint you. And so it's just like, I'm not trying to make her be a certain way, but she has her choice to make what she wants after I tell her, hey, if you do this, this is going to be the consequence of that. And if you don't, you know, we can just keep smooth sailing or whatever.
Well, that's a good life skill to instill in a child, though, that, you know, you're making your decisions. There's a consequence if you make this decision, and, you know, you're going to have to live with the consequence. So that's a good life skill. When I was growing up, like you said, I was raised the same way. You do it just because I tell you to do it. You do it because blah, blah. And I never asked the question why.
Yeah.
Never. Nor did I have the desire to. Hey, you told me to do it. Go pick it up. Go pick it up. I did whatever I was asked to do. Never have I ever asked my parents why. Ever did I do that, because I didn't feel like they would tell me to do something that would be a question to even ask why. If my father asked me to do something, then he must have needed me to do it for his reason. I don't need to know the reason why. So I never, for two reasons. One, I didn't care to know. I mean, like, there was no reason for me to know. But secondly, that was totally disrespectful in my household. You do not ask why. You just do it. And yeah, that's how I was raised. And so I didn't have the question. But my son, I was telling my daughter this weekend that Elliot, out of everybody in my entire being that's on this earth right now, is the person that I learn most from, because he's the one that is telling me these things. Like, Mom, I want to know why. I want to. And I'm like, now I got to re-examine how I have to say things to him, because now it's like, okay. Or he'll be hard-headed and just not do it. Like, Elliot's the same way as your daughter. Like, he's hard to discipline or he was, and like, I don't discipline him now. But growing up, he took his punishment and kept it moving. Okay, let's get this over with. And I'm like, wait a minute. That's not how you supposed to do this.
She doesn't even get, like, it doesn't like affect her like some kids. Like, some kids be really upset and sad, like, if you punish them and stuff. Yeah. And she says, okay, I'll do it. You know, whatever you say, because she knows if she was wrong, she's gonna do whatever we say. Like, you know, she has chores to do or whatever. Has no lip about it.
I'm gonna tell you, I did not have a deceitful son. I have had so many people, children who were deceitful and sneaky, and I can't stand kids like that. So yeah, they're straightforward. They're straightforward with you. I mean, yeah, I did this. Yeah, give me my punishment. Yeah, let's get it over with. Yeah, let's go on to the next. I'm like, still, kid. I want you to feel this. How old are your kids, LaRon?
I got a 12, a 6, and a 2-year-old.
Okay.
And an unborn.
So tell me,
one on the way.
Yeah.
So tell me about the 12-year-old. Like, how do you communicate with her?
Well, we have a very, very, very good relationship. One thing about us is that we can talk about anything, and I do mean anything. Like, the communication with us is that, hey, you know what? Really, a lot of things that we talk about finances, management of money.
I mean relationship, though. I don't mean.
I'm saying, like, how do we do it? Like, we're open like this. We talk about finances. We talk about boys. We talk about the challenges that she may be going through. Like, all these things. We're so open in so many areas to where she'll like one day I was talking to her in the car. I just picked her up from school. And I looked and I was messing around with her. And as she got in the car, I looked around. I said, "You talking to these boys out here?" You know, and I was laughing at her. I said, "Huh, who you got a crush on?" And I was just messing around with her. But she said, "Nobody. Like, I don't really like nobody." And I asked her, I said, "What do you like? I mean, why is it that you don't like anybody?" She's like, "I just haven't had anybody who, you know, fit my personality that I really like." But just to be able to open up and talk about something so personal, you know what I mean? Talk about something that most young women not really willing to talk about. I feel like I love that. And the communication is so open. So
I love that.
And brilliant. She's brilliant. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, that's important. And she's going to need that, because I don't care what Dr. Phil says, you guys. I don't care what he says. He says that the same sex parent is the most important parent in the home. I disagree with that categorically, because I'm not going to marry my mother. I'm going to marry my father. Whoever my father is, I'm going to marry that person. So that's the opposite sex parent. And you tend to learn more from the opposite sex parent, because that's the person you're going to be looking those qualities for a man, or those qualities for a woman. And that's much more important than the same sex parent. So my father and my mother divorced or separated when I was 11. They divorced when I was 13. I wouldn't live with my father.
Mhm.
If I had a father that beat me, that beat my mother, that was cruel to my brothers, I would have married that person unless there was a miracle in my life and I decided never to do, just to pattern after that. But more than likely, you pattern after what you've been brought up. I was brought up with a father that had good morals, good character, good integrity. You know, he was a good guy. So I married a good guy.
Mhm. Mhm.
Even to the point where, and this was not even supposed to be, but my husband became a law enforcement officer when my father was a police officer. Who knew that was going to ever happen? Because I met my husband at Jack in the Box, and he was going to college, and he was going to be a mathematician. Then he switches and becomes a law enforcement officer. I'm like, what? What? How did that happen? But okay. So yeah. So I'm just saying that, when be good parents to your kids, especially fathers to daughters and mothers to sons, because there are going to be times where they're going to look at your relationship with them and be like, yeah, I don't want that in a spouse. I want that in a spouse. Or they're going to default to the person that you are. And that could be either good or bad.
I was telling my wife not that long ago when I had that incident in the car with my daughter, and I was asking her about boys. I came on to my wife and I said, "Babe, it's crazy that the characteristics that my daughter named that she was looking for and why she really didn't, looking at any boys in the school was me." Like she literally pointed out my characteristics without even knowing it, without anything, like how she was saying. I said, "So what do you like?" "Well, they gotta be funny." I'm always joking. Listen, I'm a jokester. I say some off the wall stuff. We communicate like that, laughing about everything. But it's just that she was really looking for me, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, she talked about the immaturity in boys.
Mm,
The immaturity. What do you know about the immaturity? You know what I'm
that's
saying?
funny.
She wants somebody who's sharpened on their stuff. You know what I mean? So I mean, like you're right about that though. You're right. They're gonna look for the opposite sex in a spouse or in a significant other.
Yeah.
So that's a very powerful thing. So like you said, you gotta really look at how we are as parents to make sure what kind of values are we instilling, how are we treating our kids. I used to have an issue, if I could be honest, where I more so I was here but I wasn't.
Oh,
Did you hear what I'm saying?
yes.
I was here but I wasn't. Like I'm here, I'm around, but my mind is not there because my mind is on so many other things. So I was a present father but an absent father, and that is not good to be, because it's just as worse as an absent father. If
And LeBron, I could not understand that for the life of me. Growing up, I had heard that my father's an absentee father, and I'm like, but he lives with you. The reason why that he was an absentee father, it was my best friend growing up in high school. He would come home, sit on the couch, look at TV, not interact with the kids at all, get up, go to work, go the next day. It was a routine like that. And I was like, but he's in the house, but he wasn't ever interacting with them. And then I understood.
Yeah.
And that is worse because it's almost like a rejection.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it is a rejection. It's not almost like one. It is a rejection.
It's openly rejecting you versus not being there and not knowing why.
That's right.
That's the difference. It's like openly.
That's right.
Like, I don't want you in my presence.
Yeah.
Even though I'm here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I mean that's one of the great lessons I've learned to learn is to
not be that person.
Say that one more time. Yeah.
Not be that person. Yeah.
To make sure that if I'm here, I'm here. So now even what I do with my children is that I let them know, hey, we got time where, like, even now, like, they know when we're having this conversation, we're talking again. I said, I'm gonna get right when I get off this, baby, we're gonna be able to go outside, jump on the trampoline. We'll be able to do different things. But give me my moment and then I'll come back and give you yours. It's communicating.
Yeah,
that's important.
That's exactly what we do. We let her know, hey, we got to work right now. But afterwards, we'll go do this, whatever you want to do. You let us know what you want to do, and we'll go do it with you.
Yeah, that's that communication. You know, even, and here's the thing. Here's the thing. We gotta, as a parents and adults, we gotta understand that we gotta communicate with our kids.
Yeah.
Like you said, we were told, you know, that you don't ask questions because I said so. Well, that doesn't help in the real world, and nor
It
is it
doesn't.
you know what I'm saying? like explain it. It's okay to explain it. Give them understanding.
Yeah.
Like when you want to understand it, we gotta look at ourselves and put ourselves as kids. We want to understanding. And so, you know, give us. I mean,
I wasn't that
I
kid.
know you was different. You was different.
Yeah.
But I'm saying most of us as kids, we asked the question. Like we want to, even if we didn't ask, we wanted to. I mean, maybe you didn't, but I'm just saying, I want to understand how the components of things work.
I do too.
It was because I totally trusted I trusted what was asked of me. Like I never questioned any of that ever.
And I trusted it just more so. Like I was curious as a kid, being curious. Like it was more so with me. Like I'm curious. Like not questioning you, but I'm curious. Like what is going on? Can you like? I want to know. Like I'm curious. You know, what's going on? But I mean, that's just. I mean, I was like, I'm curious. You see, I ask a lot of questions now.
I think that's important to ask a lot of questions. I think you become more intelligent when you ask more questions because you learn more things.
It depends. I agree with that. And I did ask questions, but when it was a parent being a parent to me, I was not questioning my parenting being a parent. Yeah. Now there's a difference between being curious and being disrespectful.
Yeah.
And I was not disrespectful. Now I totally was under the hood with my father. I was totally in the kitchen with my father. I was totally asking questions of him. Absolutely. There is a line that could be crossed. And that was the line that I never crossed. When I was asked to do something, I did it with no question. Grandmother's the same way. You asked me to do something, I'm doing it. Yeah. I'm not asking you, why do I have to do that? Or why am I going to do that? Or why you at? No, you do what you're told to do. Now, later on, when you come back, later, like their timing I was talking about, not that I never did this, but if you ever come back and say, now, Grandma, when you asked me to do this and so, what was that for? Why was that? That was different. That would be a lot different than asking in the heat of the moment, you know, and the disrespectful part of that would be, well, why do I have to do that now? Or, you know, no.
And hitting them out. So that's, you know, I did know that, like don't ask in a moment, like
exactly.
You know, but I definitely understand that. But kids are a lot of us just curious, you know, want to know, you know. But like I said, there is a difference because I will say something to my daughter as well if she says why, like just out of nowhere.
Exactly.
Like I'll say something to her, I'll break it down to her, but I will tell her, low key, like still me, I'll let her know we still need to get it done. Get it done.
Yeah, that's the same. That's how I
get it done. Why? But get it done.
Yeah.
You know. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
I think it's a good thing too. I just want to say one last thing. I always talk to my daughter like an adult. Like I've never talked to her childish, like never goo goo gaga stuff. Like ever since she was a baby.
Me either.
I've talked to her like an adult, and I think that's important because one, they speak more clearly, and I think they learn more words more, like, and you know that doesn't keep them in the dark about things. Like
they're able to conversate with you better. Yeah, my daughter was the same way. I never, like at 18 months old, she was able to have a telephone conversation with people in St. Louis. Like, I mean, literally a conversation with people and understood. She was comprehending the conversation. It wasn't just So I feel you on that. Yeah. So this is fun, you guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so complicated. That's just like I said earlier. All this stuff is so complicated. Timing is perfect. Communication is key. You know, trust is the other big thing up there. When you have a good conversation, like Crystal and her husband couldn't have had a conversation the way that they did without the trust in the other person.
Absolutely.
You know, you have to be able to trust the person that you're engaging with in order to have the conversation and not in the heat of the moment, you guys. Have it away from the, you know, like Lauren was saying, have it away from the situation and come back to it later and be like, hey, you know, and see how that happens. But pray on it first.
Absolutely.
Well, I want to thank you guys so much for joining us today. Wellness Wednesday was amazing again with Mr. Lauren Burns, and of course with Crystal. Always Natural Health Hub loves you guys. We want you guys to like, share, and just go on our website and look and see in there, set up a health conference call and talk to us and let us help you get your body back into a holistic balance, because we can do that. We can help you guys get yourselves back into a good mindset. Even once your body starts getting healed, your mind follows.
That's right. Gut brain connection. That is right
That
on.
good brain connection. That's right. So we're happy to have you guys with us. We will see you next Wednesday with another special guest. And I guess vibe of the day on Friday.
We might. We'll see what
Okay.
happens.
Okay.
Vacation time this week, so I don't
Our
know.
vacation time this week.
All
All right, you guys. Thank you. See you soon.
right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Lauren. We appreciate you. Bye bye.